Good afternoon. I'm Randy Horton, Chief Solutions Officer from Orthogonal. We're here at the Anaheim Convention Center for the MD&M West conference, and we are presenting you with MedTech Spotlight Live, which is our attempt to bring you some of the best people and ideas going on at the conference. We work on the theory that you can't make it to every conference, and if you do make it to every conference, you still can't meet every interesting person at the conference. So we're bringing here to interview a bunch of different people at the conference doing different things. So today we have Rachel Wong. Rachel, could you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me. So my name is Rachel, and I've been coming to the MD&M conference since college. Yeah, I used to go to UCI, so we'd come here as students, and then I got into medical devices as an engineering student. So biomedical engineering background, material science and engineering, master's from the University of Washington, and then came back down and started working in R&D for a couple of different companies. So St. Jude Medical, Covidian, which is now Medtronic, and then a number of startup companies in the eye industry. And then lastly at Inari Medical for peripheral vascular. And now I'm starting my own company. So co-founding a company with two others, getting into AI platform software in emergency medicine.
So that's a pretty broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us about emergency medicine.
Yeah, so really excited about getting into emergency medicine. I think we've seen a lot of AI software specifically in radiology. And so now it's applying those large language models, the machine learning, the data sets to emergency medicine, which is extremely complex because you might get different presentations of very similar diagnostic events, and you have to do it under extreme duress in a lot of cases. We'll be working specifically from EMS, so point of injury, all the way through the ED and the ICU. And in addition to that, we would like to be attacking battlefield medicine. So it's a corollary. You're under a lot of pressure in an austere environment and trying to triage a casualty at the point of care and then moving them along that to increase survivability.
Wow. Okay, so walk us through. Well, let's do each of the two scenarios. So let's
Mhm.
start with emergency medicine, which I'm a little more familiar with.
Yeah, yeah.
So what does the before and after look like? And give us a scenario of kind of where you're looking to bridge a gap or improve care.
Yeah, a lot of it is in the patient data continuity. So, for example, if a paramedic is going to a car accident, they are taking vital signs, they're taking in the patient, they're understanding the injury, and then they're capturing that mentally and then with equipment, putting them in transport, transporting that person to the hospital. And then you might have 1 to 2 minutes to speak to the receiving physician.
Mhm.
And in all of that, you might be having to give 30 minutes or an hour's worth of data. And they have to capture that in 2 minutes and then continue to move along and treat the patient.
Okay.
And so, one of the things that we want to attack is enabling EMS to have the platform so that data transmission is already being taken care of to the receiving hospital and you have a bigger picture. Because what we've seen is that the EMS or a paramedic may be giving a partial story, and then they have to file a report, say 72 hours later. And even in that report from the paramedic, you have discrepancies in vital signs data. And so it just enables the physician to have a better picture of the patient as they're going in.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, so to take us then, that's a domestic hospital civilian. Take us to a military context phase.
Yeah. So as you deploy forward, you might only have two medics for 30 or 40 infantry. And so if there's a casualty, the medic then is taken out of their first and foremost, their duty, which is to execute the mission, right?
Mhm.
And then secondly, they might also have to take somebody with them to care for that one person. And so this would enable the medic to do that on their own by capturing the data, for vital signs on the casualty themselves, but also usually the medic is like manually sweeping. So they'd sweep for injuries, and then take manual like pulse or be counting respiratory rate.
Sure.
And instead, what we can do is that would all be automatic. So they can then instead treat the casualty itself. And if you think of about the transport, so you have point of injury, and then you might have like a 2-4 hour transport. It might be at night in the dark, and then you go to a field hospital, and then from the field hospital, you're maybe going to another hospital out of the country, and then you're again being transported to another hospital. So you have multiple points of care. And in each of those, the data would already be transmitted to that next point of care so that you already have the information you need to start treating immediately for the casualty.
So it sounds like you got a couple different elements here, and I don't think we have time to get into all of it,
Yeah.
but basically you have a automated data capture component.
Mhm.
You have a data sharing component
Yes.
and data continuity. And then you also have a diagnostic assistant component from AI.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah. And, one of the things that we think we're really going to push over the edge, especially in the battlefield side, is that the UI and the UX is really set up for those dark environments. It's built so that it's easily seen and not heard. So a lot of times the alarm systems are auditory. And in this case, everything you'd be able to see immediately. So color coding available in the dark, and continuing to treat without having to use a lot of cognitive ability.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thank you very much for coming out. One last question we ask
Sure.
everybody, but just a little bit different because you're local to Orange County.
Yes,
Right? You're
yes.
there. Normally we ask people, how many times have you been to Anaheim and have you been to Disney? So
Yeah.
maybe I'll just ask you, do you have any estimate of how many times you might have been to Disneyland?
I used to be a pass holder, so probably a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, both California Adventure and Original Disneyland.
Okay. And do you have a preference on ride or park or?
I like California Adventure, and I forget what it's called now, but it's the Cars ride where
Right.
you go through the Cars scenes.
Right.
Yeah,
What's the longest line you think you ever waited in for something?
I don't wait in the line. I refuse. So I'll
Okay.
get the Genie Pass, and then I'll walk around and wait till I could go in. And then if the line is too long, I go do something else.
All right. Spoken like a true professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, professional attendee. Well, thank you very much for coming out. Good luck. And what's your website so people can look it up?
So Halite Medical, it's halitemedical.com.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.